Okay. So, since lab was certainly suboptimal for presenting, since y'all had the donor in the supine position and y'all wanted to keep him there for it to be easier for you to do your lab, I figured it may be helpful for y'all to get to see everything in proper orientation. So I'm just going to kind of walk through the stuff from our lab, and hopefully that helps y'all. It's actually pretty simple. So starting off on the anterior side, the big muscle right inside the tibia, you guessed it, tibialis anterior. And if you come just lateral to him, the one that's coming all the way up to the top, that's going to be your extensor digitorum longus. And I will, before I hide these, I'll show you the other ones while they're on there so you can kind of see how you'd be able to differentiate while the muscles are there together. So in between tibialis anterior and extensor digitorum longus, you can see right here the extensor digitorum, or not digitorum, extensor hallucis longus. And he's going to go all the way down to the big toe here, you can see. And then I know Levi was asking about the peroneus or fibularis tertius and being able to tell that. So, you know, I told you in lab you can pull on these tendons here. These are the ones with the digitorum longus. So the one that's going to be that most lateral tendon on the foot is going to belong to the fibularis tertius. And so, you know, in learning to differentiate it, you can tug on that, but obviously you're not going to be able to do that in lab. So looking without having removed any of the muscles yet, you can see here you have on your most medial side tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, then extensor digitorum longus, and then just anterior to the fibula is your fibularis tertius right here. And so that's how you're going to be able to tell, because with the fibularis muscles, they're going to be, if you're looking straight on lateral, they're going to be posterior to the fibula, or, you know, in lab it may not be that pretty, but they'll at least be more lateral or posterior as opposed to the tertius being anterior to that. So then the next thing we're going to have is, if this will do what I want it to, there we go. This nerve that comes right here, well, clicked on the wrong part, there we go, and runs up through, so you can see it going over the extensor retinaculum, and it runs, if you follow in between that extensor digitorum longus all the way up right in here. That's going to be the superficial fibular nerve. And then if you want to see the deep fibular nerve, let's get him out of the way. He's going to be just inside, when you lift up that tibialis anterior, and here you're going to be your deep fibular nerve, just running kind of along that interosseous membrane. And then right here, you're going to have a jumble of vessels. So you'll have the deep fibular nerve, then the artery that you're going to see there. You'll just have to go through these by process of elimination. So you're going to, you know, be able to tell which one's a nerve, that's deep fibular. Then when you can tell which one's the artery, that's going to be anterior tibial artery. And then the other two or three, because there's several other veins that aren't on the tag list and other things in there, but the other stuff that's not the nerve and the artery is just going to be your anterior tibial veins. And I don't know if those are on the tag list at all or not, but it's helpful to know what they are so you don't get confused when you see just a mosh podge of vessels in there. And then let's get the extensor hallucis and digitorum out of the way. So now let's work on the posterior side. So right off the bat, coming over this calcaneal tendon here, you're going to have the small saphenous, and that's going to go just down here to the lateral aspect of the foot. That's going to be the vein that feeds from the lateral side. And now we can get him out of the way. Sorry, I'm probably giving you motion sickness swinging around here. And then I'm be honest with you all these superficial nerves, it'll take some, you know, I don't know if I can really help you there. I think saphenous, I think safe and sound, like it's on the inside, safe and sound. So ones like this one here, if I can click on it, is going to be a saphenous nerve. So I just think he's, you know, nice and safe and sound on the inside. But apart from that, with these superficial ones, there's just so many, and I don't think most of them are on the tag list. Apart from, of course, the superficial fibular, if it'll let me click on it. Jeez, come on. First try. But these other ones, a lot of them are curl and surl, and it's hard to, I don't think most of these are on the tag list, to be honest. And it's not going to let me click on it. Okay. So then starting on the back, you have your lateral gastroc right here. And then medial gastroc right here. Those are easy. Your calf muscles, you know those. Then the fun little guy that's running from the top of the knee and then just turns into a tendon and runs all the way down. That's your plantaris right here. Then we get him out of the way. The pretty aponeurosis looking guy right here is popliteus. He looks, which I don't think it's actually aponeurosis, but whatever one that was on the back of the forearm that ran across like that, the supinator kind of guy, he reminds me of that. Anyways, so then you've got the Maj Podge of vessels going on in the back of the knee. So these, until you dive down into this cavity here, once they go through this, that's when it turns into the name change. So up here, it's going to be popliteal artery, popliteal vein, and this nerve is the tibial nerve. So the arteries and veins, the names change once you dive through that cavity, but the nerve stays, it changes earlier up. So when you get up here where your sciatic is, let's get these guys out of the way. So your sciatic is going to split into your tibial and your common fibular, and that's kind of helps you to differentiate some of these guys, especially if you can see upstream when you're trying to figure them up downstream. But so the common fibular will come down here, and I believe that's the one that goes into deep. Yeah, it looks like that's the one that turns into deep fibular nerve, and then it's also going to split off into, I think, like sural or crural right here, lateral sural. I'm not sure if that one's on the tag list though. But anyways, once we dive down through the soleus here, we'll get a name change out of those arteries and veins. Let's get this fascia out of the way. So artery now becomes the tibial artery up here. Well, there we go. And it pretty much just, it's never goes to like a common. It goes straight into posterior and anterior. The anterior is going to run up through the front right here. So there's your anterior tibial artery, and that's the one that's going to feed down on the front side of that interosseous membrane. And then the posterior tibial is just going to be the rest of it that didn't branch off to the front. And so when you're looking in the back, once again, it's a nice little just pocket of a bunch of junk running here. Don't let yourself get confused by the veins. There's going to be a double vein thing going on back here too, with the tibial veins. And then, so just look for artery and nerve. There's only going to be one of each as far as on this medial side and big ones. You're going to have the tibial nerve and then the posterior tibial artery. And then just other veins to try and confuse you. And these fibular veins, obviously on the fibular side. And let's get the calcaneal tendon out of the way. So now is what y'all really didn't get to see that you probably need to see. I feel like soleus and gastroc is easy, but our guy's not exactly a contortionist, so y'all didn't get to see this very well. Let's get this nerve out of the way. If it'll click. First try. Well, okay, it's going to do it one piece at a time. So the big muscle that you're going to have on the middle of this back here is going to be your tibialis posterior, just dead center right there. If you split, kind of, you can break it up into regions. So if you look between the fibula and the tibia, the big one you have running all the way to the top, that's your tibialis posterior. Then the one on the medial side is going to be your flexor digitorum longus, and then the one that's coming off of the fibula is going to be the flexor hallucis longus. And he doesn't like to stay in his lane. So like I was telling y'all in lab, he kind of counterintuitively starts on this lateral side here, and then he's going to run down, which I'm sure y'all actually got to see, so it may make sense now. But he runs down towards that medial malleolus and goes to the big toe, but he doesn't like to stay in his lane. But the flexor digitorum longus does. He starts medial, stays medial, goes straight down where you think he would. So then we can get these guys out of the way. And you can see that pretty interosseous. And then here's the fibular artery right there, just running right down the fibula. And so now the last compartment of the leg, lateral, it's just a couple muscles. So you have the nice big juicy one is your fibularis longus, and then the short one is the brevis. And I think, Levi, you were asking about this one too, differentiating them. If they tag it up high, if it's in that proximal third of the fibula, then it's going to be longus. because if we take him out of the way, you can see, I mean, the brevis attaches about halfway up the fibula. But apart from that, if they don't tag it high, if they were to tag it like right in the middle maybe, or let's see if I can get this longest back. Come on now. Give me the longest. Give me the longest. There we go. If they didn't tag it up high, it'd just be a matter of trying to differentiate, see if you can follow the fibers down. It's like if they tagged it, right where you can see this nerve crossing over, if they were to tag it right there, if you could, maybe follow those muscle fibers to the tendon, then you could tell. But if it's low down, the brevis is going to be a little bit more interior and the longest is going to be a little bit more posterior, but it's just a matter of, I guess, trying to track those fibers to see which tendon they go to, because the muscle bellies they like to get a little consanguineous on you. And then once again, there's that tertius right there. And then that's it for the leg. And then coming down to the foot's actually really easy. Main things here, all these short little guys you see, those are going to be the brevises. Big surprise there. So the one that goes to the big toe, you guessed it, is the extensor hallucis brevis. And then the one that goes to the digits, you guessed it, extensor digitorum brevis. And then that's really all there is. As far as muscles in the tarsal region, then you get up here to the metatarsals, and it's just your interosseous muscles, and first one, second one, then so on. And then as far as the other things that you need to know here, that superficial fibular nerve is going to feed into these dorsal or digital branches. If I can click on it, come on now. There we go. So you see he's feeding these dorsal digital nerves that just run on either side of the toe. And then artery-wise, I don't think there were any veins on there, but I would know that your great saphenous is going to be coming down this medial side, and then your small saphenous is the one that feeds into, which we hit him, but he feeds into that lateral side there. And then artery-wise, your anterior tibialis is going to feed down through, see if we can get some of this crap out of the way. It's going to come under those retinaculums here and turn into the dorsal pedis artery. And then he's going to go through to the foot. And I don't know why they put this on our tag list, because you can't really see it well anterior without destroying everything. But this little branch that goes straight down is a deep plantar artery. And then, so things you need to know the main one, dorsal pedis artery, comes from the anterior tibial. And then when he goes traversing on you, going sideways, that's going to be your arcuate. I don't never know how to say that one. Arcuate artery, but that's just, when you see it going horizontal, that's arcuate. And then when you see it diving down to the bottom of the foot, that's the deep plantar. And that's pretty much it. I don't think I missed anything. Hope this helps. I don't know if I rambled too much or if it was actually